What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham Jason Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. Today we're talking last night's edition of Raw Talk, aired on June 22nd, 2020, immediately after Raw on the WWE Network. If you haven't already, cannot recommend it enough, the fifth and final chapter of Undertaker: The Last Ride, available right now on the WWE Network. My review is already up. It went up Sunday, so check that out right here on the channel. But as far as Raw Talk is concerned, Samoa Joe, who usually co-hosts the show alongside Charlie Caruso, was replaced by MVP on this episode, who was quite entertaining, if I do say so myself. The episode probably wouldn't have been as enjoyable as it was if it wasn't for MVP, and Samoa Joe is great. I wish they would have replaced Charlie with MVP and not Samoa Joe, because Samoa Joe was great, and Charlie, I think Renee Young just does an infinitely better job, in my opinion, in this type of thing, in this type of setting. But nonetheless, it was MVP and Charlie Caruso. The first guest they have on was Bobby Lashley, which was quite fitting, of course, with MVP co-hosting the show. They talked about how they have many big goals in WWE, none of which they're ready to share yet with Charlie, the WWE Universe. And Charlie mentioned how their partnership so far up to this point has been mutually beneficial, and they would agree. And Lashley brings up how he won the fight at Backlash against Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Not the match, but that was due to circumstances outside of his control. They didn't name drop Lana, but I assume they didn't name drop Lana because that feud is over, that storyline is over. Thank God. Lashley divorced Lana last week on Raw, and I was kind of worried that they would do a divorce court on Raw, and we may still get that, but it looks like Lana moved on in the form of that new alliance with Natalya, which I'll get to soon enough, and now Lashley is setting his sights on the United States Championship. He doesn't say that outright here. He doesn't say, I want to challenge Apollo Crews for the United States Championship. He just says he has his eyes on all the championships. He says McIntyre is too scared to grant him a rematch for the WWE title, but they're looking at the WWE title. They're looking at the United States Championship. They're looking at the tag team titles, which, in all honesty, they should be owed a title shot. Lashley and MVP beat the Street Profits not for the tag team titles, but in a non-championship match. And the Profits are still the Raw Tag Team Champions coming off their match with the Viking Raiders on Raw this week. So quite honestly, Lashley and MVP should be afforded the shot at those tag titles, but obviously they're headed in a different direction with the Profits, with them facing Andrade and Garza instead, so I get it. But they said they could have even won the 24/7 championship by now, at least on 3 or 4 occasions, MVP says. But it's not exactly at the top of their priorities, which truer words have never been spoken, because that title is trash at this point, and it has been for a while. Lashley had the opportunity to win it on this show, but didn't. He laid out R-Truth, he laid out the Ninjas, didn't lay out Akira Tozawa, who went on to pin Truth and win the championship on Raw last night. But that championship means so little that Lashley has his eyes on all the titles, and he still could not give two shits about becoming 24/7 champion. So yeah, they're looking at all the championships right now. They then bring on Natalya, who is their next guest, and Natalya talks about how her and Lana have been friends for such a long time, which I have no recollection of that whatsoever, but she's probably just bullshitting. That they've been friends for a long time. She calls Lana a strong woman and says that this current partnership, this alliance they have since formed, is all about women's empowerment. Give me a fucking break. She then goes on, if that wasn't funny enough, she then goes on to say that she is the best women's wrestler in the entire world. And clearly she is not believing the words that are coming out of her mouth. In character or not in character, that is one of the most ridiculous claims I've ever heard in my entire life. Maybe in 2010, when we were in the era of Alicia Fox and Melina for the Divas Championship. In 2020, I don't think so. So hey, listen, I'm all for women's empowerment, but Natalya talking about how this alliance with Lana is all about her becoming the best women's wrestler in the world, and how this alliance is about women's empowerment, is an absolute disgrace and discredit to women's empowerment stuff going on right now in the world of the whole speaking out movement and whatnot. Probably not the best line to use. I'm probably just splitting hairs here. It's not a big deal, but and they're talking about women's empowerment at a time where there's actual women's empowerment going on, specifically in the wrestling world, and to even tie this crap into that, to me, is laughable. This may have been filmed last week, though, to be fair. They may have recorded this last week after, I think they may have taped back-to-back Raws last week, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, Natalya says that she and the entire locker room, the entire Raw women's locker room, will miss Charlotte. Now, it wasn't said on Raw last night what the issue with Charlotte was. I know Nia Jax attacked her at the beginning of the show, injured her shoulder, which is why Asuka won. Still a relatively clean win, not queen. That's Charlotte's nickname. A relatively clean win for Asuka, which was cool. And then Nia attacked her, I think, backstage later on in the show. But they never said that Charlotte would be missing time, which we found out this morning. I think I read that on like 411 Mania or whatever. I had seen from a pretty credible source, I think PW Insider confirmed the news, that Charlotte's going to be out for at least up to 6 weeks. She's not injured, legitimately. She's not, whatever. There was like, she's not sick or she's not injured. I guess she had elective surgery or will be having elective surgery. What that even means, I have no idea. Elective? Not really sure. But I guess she's going to be out for a while, which is why they did what they did. I assume they would be building Nia and Charlotte at the pay-per-view. Maybe they will build that at SummerSlam, not that they really give a shit at the SummerSlam pay-per-view, because Nia is not in the championship picture anymore, thank God. And neither is Charlotte, which is also kind of cool and refreshing. So yeah, for those that don't know, they didn't really confirm it here. They kind of hinted at it. But Charlotte seems to be out for a little while, at least for the next 5 or 6 weeks. So then she also talks about how she hates green on Charlie. And this is really when the thing, went off the rails, where it felt like Natalya would never shut up and her appearance would never end. Because she talked about the family that she came up in, the Hart family, and how she doesn't get out of bed for less than $10,000 a day. Just completely ridiculous crap. Advising people to go follow her cat, Two Paws, on Instagram. No thanks. So thankfully, they finally move on from her. You could skip right over that shit. They get to Rey Mysterio, and Rey Mysterio and MVP do have some previous bad blood from way back when in 07, 08 when they were feuding over the United States Championship. MVP's first singles match back in WWE earlier this year was against Rey Mysterio. And MVP's kid, I believe, is a big Rey Mysterio fan. So for MVP to face Rey on Raw a couple of months ago, I think was pretty cool for him, his kid. But they pretended like they hated each other here, because obviously MVP's a heel, so why would he act like he likes Rey Mysterio? So MVP flat out calls him a bad father, saying that he always puts Dominic in danger, bringing up not just only the recent events, but also, way back when in 05, when he was put in the middle of that ongoing angle with Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, and the custody of Dominic was put on the line in the fucking ladder match, which is so ridiculous in retrospect. But he makes a good point. Mysterio says that Dominic has a future in WWE, because it's something that he really wants to pursue, and he's not going to deter him from that. But Mysterio did say that he will be always there to guide him, and that Rollins crossed the line with Dominic when he put his hands on him. I'm not sure if he was talking about this week on Raw or a while ago. I assume he meant on Monday's Raw, like last night, when he almost injured him and Dominic got out of it, thankfully. I assume that's what he was talking about. But he says that he wants to get his revenge, and he soon will, because, yeah, he's all about forgiving and forgetting, as MVP brought up, but he also wants vengeance, and he also wants Seth Rollins to pay for his actions. So that was about it. They kind of teased more tension between Rey Mysterio and MVP as they went off the air here. And MVP and Charlie were arguing about the Rey Mysterio situation at the end of the episode. So they could be building the MVP versus Rey Mysterio on Raw, which is fine. But I don't know. I think MVP should be slotted more in a managerial role at this point in his career. And he's gotten beat so many times now by like Drew McIntyre and other people that it doesn't really mean as much as it should for people to get their hands on him. But nonetheless, I thought this was a good appearance from Rey Mysterio. The Bobby Lashley stuff, they kind of talked over each other a lot, which was kind of annoying at certain points, but it was entertaining overall. The only part of this episode I would advise you to skip over was the Natalya crap. It just felt like it would never end. Overall, though, a decent episode, furthering the feuds with Mysterio and Rollins, kind of teasing what was next for Bobby Lashley, which I would assume is Lashley and Cruz for the United States Championship, and then kind of giving us some new insight on insight, but not really, on the new partnership between Natalya and Lana for the two people that care. And that does it, guys, for my review of Raw Talk for Monday, June 22nd, 2020. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode, enjoyed this review. If you did, be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Like I said, we had 2 days ago The Undertaker, The Last Ride Chapter 5 review, so check that out here on the channel. Yesterday, as part of the MCU Rewatch review series, we broke down Thor: The Dark World, one of, if not the weakest movie in the entire MCU. So be sure to check out that conversation. Today we have this review. Tomorrow, #AskGSM. Thursday, Wrestle Rant Radio excerpts. Friday, we might be doing, Alexis and I, a live stream, which we haven't done one in a while. I did one for AEW Double or Nothing 2019 to the RJ about a month ago. So on Friday, in honor of 626, June 26th, we might be doing a live stream of, completely random, I know, Lilo and Stitch. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. We might be watching it Friday, so why not live stream ourselves doing so? So that might be happening Friday, if not something like another review going up. Saturday, SmackDown review, and Sunday will be my review of the Broken Skull Sessions episode with Mark Henry, which seems to be shaping up to be very exciting. Looking forward to watching that on Sunday. So until next time, guys, have a great rest of your week. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.